Hello students, the next chapter under the cost and management accounting, that is the chapter 6, operating costing. Okay, we'll see first what do you mean by operating cost and operating costing. Operating cost is nothing but operating cost is the cost providing and maintaining a services. Remember, operating costing is purely relating to the services, only for the services, not for the production of the products. It's relating to the service departments. All the service providing industries are service producing companies. Okay, for example, transportation company or public utility services, gas supply, electricity, welfare services or municipal services, or street for example street lighting, colleges, hospitals, banking, canteens, libraries, universities. These are the main examples for the operate services. Okay, this operating costing is nothing but we calculate in the cost of these services. Okay, so see, and the operating cost is nothing but operating cost is the cost of providing and maintaining a services. The operating cost is nothing but the cost incurred for providing and the maintenance of the services. What is the cost incurred for the providing the services or maintaining the particular services? That is the operating cost. And operating costing is nothing but it is a method of costing applied to undertakings which provide services rather than production of commodities to find out the cost of service rendered. It is also known as service costing. Okay, operating cost is cost incurred, and the operating costing is nothing but it is a method. It's one of the method applied to undertakings which provides the services rather than the production, which is the method applied to the those industries or those companies which are providing the services. Okay, to find out the cost of service. Okay, for example, now transportation company, they have a particular person has two buses, is running the buses between the Bangalore and Mangalore. Means to find out the cost of the buses, for example petrol charge, the cost includes the installation charges and the driver's salary, and the petrol charges, or diesel charges, anything, right? Okay, these are the costs. So to calculate the cost of a particular services, we applying the operating costing. Okay, under the see, what are the main features of operating costing or service costing? Operating costing is nothing but service costing. Okay, features of operating costing. First one, application. Operating costing is applied in undertakings which provide services to the community as a whole rather than manufacture of products. They are mainly applied to the those industries or companies which are providing services rather than the products. Okay, they are not producing the this service costing is not applied to the companies which are providing the products, only apply to the those industries which are providing the services. Next one is rendering of services. Services of the concern may be used internally or may be rendered to the public. It's maybe the internally using services or rendering the public. For example, concerns like transport companies, gas companies, electricity companies, hotels, hospitals, etc. services to the public, right? They are providing to the outside. And the services of boiler house, canteen, delivery vans, etc. used within the organization. Okay, services may be within the organization. For example, delivery van or canteen service providing to employees, this is the within the organization. So services rendering of services within either within the or outside the organization. Next one, standardized service. Undertaking to which this method of costing is applied renders standardized service to its customers. This method is applied to those industries which are providing the standardized services to the customers. Okay, investment of capital. In operating undertakings, a large portion of the total capital is invested on fixed assets and only a small portion of the total capital is working capital. Mainly under the service industries, the larger amount is invested on the fixed assets. For example, now transportation, they investing larger amount on the buses, right? Only the small amount on working capital for petrol, diverse charges, etc. Right? The larger amount on the fixed assets. Okay. Classification of cost. Next one. Costs are classified into fixed, semi-variable and variable, which are of great importance as the scale of operations and economies considerably affect the cost per unit of service rendered. To find out the proper cost per unit, the cost is divided into three. One is fixed, second one is the semi-variable, and third one is the variable. Okay. Next one, period cost. The operating costs are period costs. The expenses are accumulated for a period and they are related to the quantum of services rendered during the period. In certain cases, however, the operating costing can be terminal cost. That is, when a bus is chartered out for a specific trip, the cost of such trip is worked out, treating it as a specific job. Okay, almost the transport operating costing is calculated for a particular period. For example, 3 months. For example, 4 months. For a particular period, we are calculating. In some cases, they are calculating for a particular situation. When a bus, for example, in a bus is when a bus is chartered out for a specific trip. When a bus is going for a specific trip for, means the cost of such a trip is worked out, treating is a specific job. That particular trip is considered as a specific job, and we are finding the cost of a particular trip. So in some cases, otherwise in all other cases they are calculating for the particular period. Okay. Next one, the undertakings to which this method of costing is applied are mainly where these services, the operating costing is applied in this operating transportation services, public utility services, welfare services, municipal services. Okay, these are the main things where we are applying the transport operating costing. Under transportation means motor transport or railways or tramways, anything. Okay, air services, etc. Public utility services is nothing but gas supply, electricity, and supply, water supply, etc. And the welfare services nothing but universities, colleges, hospitals, canteens, libraries, etc. And municipal services is nothing but street lighting, road maintenance, etc. Okay, these are the included under the operating costing. Then we'll see the types of operating costing. Okay. Under the types of operating costing, there are two types. First one is the simple or single cost unit. Okay. Under the simple or single cost unit, a cost unit is said to be a simple and simple cost unit when only one cost unit is used. For example, okay, only one cost unit is used. For example, the transportation means per mile or per kilometer, right? You are using only one. Canteen means per item or per meal. And water means per 1000 liters or per liter we are using. And composite cost unit means a cost unit is said to be composite cost unit when two units are merged into one. When two units are merged, right? See, goods transport means per ton and per ton kilometer. Two things are considered, right? For example, under the hospitals, per patient day per week, per patient bed, per patient, and per patient day or week. For example, cinema theaters, per man show. Okay, right? And the gas works means 100 cubic feet produces. So under the composite cost unit means the per meal, and under the OTLC per meal or per room per day. The two cost units are can be considered. And the under the as per our syllabus, under the operating costing, we are considered only the motor transport costing or transport costing. See, operating costing is applied in the many services. For example, transportation, hospitals, educations, or municipal services, public utility, or welfare, right? But under as per our syllabus, we are taking only the problems under only the transportation costing, only the transportation costing. Okay. Next, we'll see the What do you mean by transportation costing, motor transport costing? See, it is a method of ascertaining the cost of providing services by a transport undertaking. Transport undertaking is nothing but it's mainly in the case of the buses or the any vehicles, right? Okay, they providing the services to transport the goods or transport the passengers, right? To calculate the cost of the particular trip or a particular their transportation, that is the motor transport costing. Okay. Okay, what are the main objectives of motor transport costing? We'll see main objectives under the motor transport costing. First one, say ascertaining operating cost. Okay, to ascertain the operating cost, mainly the purpose is what? To ascertain the operating cost, or what is the cost to running a vehicle per kilometer, right? Okay, then fixation of prices after considering the cost. After considering find outing the cost, we can add some percentage of profit, then we can fix the rent for 1% or price from or ticket rate from one place to another place. So fixation of prices to fix the rates of carriage of goods and passengers on the basis of the operating cost. Next, fixation of hire charges to fix the hire charges where vehicles are given on hire. For example, vehicles are given for the hire means to fix the hire charges. Next, facilitate comparison to compare the cost of using own vehicles and with that of using alternative mode of transport. Sometimes the own vehicles are cheaper than the hire vehicles, or sometimes the hire vehicles are cheaper than the own vehicles. To compare these things, we need the operating costing, right? Apportionment of cost to help the apportion the cost of transport in different departments availing of the service of transport. The transport to divide the transport cost for the different departments, we need the operating costing. Next one is the cost control. Under the cost control, to keep a control over the cost of petrol, lubricants, etc. To keep a control over the cost of petrol, lubricant, etc. Okay, these are the main objectives of the motor transport costing. Okay, from next class we'll see the some other theory part under the this chapter. Okay, thank you.